in Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me. And it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So.
Oh my God, I'm definitely sure this was a public embarrassment for Whoopi. It's definitely one of the most embarrassing moments for her and The View, as when Turning Point USA, owned by the late Charlie Cake, demanded for a public apology and a retraction of their comments or be sued to court. They have been utterly embarrassed, and they actually tried to associate Turning Point USA with white supremacy and the new Nazi group.
I mean, there was this Turning Point conference with all the smoke. What are they smoking something down there, or it's like whatever. Anyway, they were out there. Neo-Nazis were in the front of out there in front of the conference with anti-Semitic slurs, and the Nazi swastika, and a picture of a so-called Jewish person with exaggerated features, just like Goebbels did in during the Third Reich. It's the same thing, right out of that same playbook. Okay, and DeSantis did not say anything about it. Nothing. So it's his his rendition of good people on both sides. Same idea. So why trade a headache for an upset stomach?
A few moments later.
Okay, so you have to read this thing.
Oh, I've got a legal note. The conservative group.
Sonny normally does this, but
I know.
Yes.
This is our knockoff lawyer.
Okay.
The conservative group, Turning Point USA, has condemned the group of neo-Nazis and said they have nothing to do with the organization.
Yeah, but where was DeSantis is what I want to know.
But you let them in.
President, open
you let them in and you knew what they were.
Right.
So you are complicit.
The View actually tried to take back their words led by Sarah, but the apology wasn't accepted because the person who actually had a lot to say was all quiet during the apology. So if Whoopi could actually come out to publicly apologize to the Turning Point, I'm sure the apology would have been long accepted. So I think it's why the apology was initially not accepted. And I don't actually blame the Turning Point. We all have to be accountable for whatever we say. You have to do your due diligence in ensuring that all the facts you're saying, all the things you are saying are right and they are facts. Clearly a defamation case. And I understand where the Turning Point is coming from.
It talked about the fact that there were openly neo-Nazi demonstrators outside the Florida Student Action Summit of the Turning Point USA group. We want to make clear that these demonstrators were gathered outside the event and that they were not invited or endorsed by Turning Point USA. A Turning Point USA spokesman said the group, quote, 100% condemns those ideologies, and said Turning Point USA security tried to remove the neo-Nazis from the area but could not because they were on public property. Also, Turning Point USA wanted us to clarify that this was a Turning Point USA summit and not a Republican Party event. So we apologize for anything we said that may have been unclear on these points.
They still invited Matt Gaetz, though. I would just
make a quick clarification about the neo-Nazis at the Turning Point event. They were outside protesters. My point was more metaphorical. That you embraced them at your thing, I felt. So they were not in the building.
No, but you know what? Okay. You know what? If the so-called Antifa, who are anti-fascist, that's what Antifa stands for, would go there and protest, then Antifa would get a bad reputation. That's why when I hear that Antifa is...
right, but that's not... But let me just make sure that everybody... Because, misunderstanding what people say is very big.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. So we want to make sure I know they were not in the building, but they were in the mix of people at the thing.
You know how bad...
The View actually tried to take back their words, but Turning Point USA did not accept the apology. Welcome
back. In Monday's conversation about Turning Point USA, I put the young people at the conference in the same category as the protesters outside. And I don't like it when people make assumptions about me. And it's not any better when I make assumptions about other people, which I did. So, my bad. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So.
Oh my God. And I'm sure this must have been very hard for Whoopi because it's difficult for her to actually admit her mistakes, admit she's actually wrong, and for her to come out and publicly apologize, this must have been a huge one for her. A very huge one. This must have also been a very painful apology for her, because she knows she messed up big time, and I'm sure that the legal department of the Turning Point would have told her something that led to her coming out to publicly apologize. If not, the consequences might have been grave. This was really quite amazing and shocking to see her apologize publicly. What do you think?
And Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. His wife.
Yeah.
Because Joe Biden's wife, because she, you know, he would never do it, but she's a hell of a doctor. She's an amazing doctor.
I thought she was a doctor and
PhD.
yeah. I
could be wrong.
Maybe
I thought she was
I think she's a teacher, but
My own take is, whatever you intend to do, you need to do your investigations. Be sure of whatever things you are coming out on the internet to say before you come out to say them, so that you won't be sued for defamation. And I'm so happy that she publicly apologized, and that would have been so embarrassing for her. I just feel that just as Jimmy Kimmel's show was actually banned and cancelled, The View should actually tread carefully, and they should do their due diligence before coming out on the internet and saying things that are not right, so they do not face the harsh consequences. For you to publicly not feel embarrassed over a thing or two you said, you need to investigate and do your own findings before you come out on the internet and say things that are not right. So with all this that actually happened, I want to know what's your own take about this, and put a comment in the comment section. I'll see you all in the next video. All right, till then, to this.